Hi, and welcome back to our fourth and final step for practicing to draw a CO2 car to get our plan as fast as possible. In this video, you're going to see me use my flexible ruler again, of course my scissors to help make a nice curve, and I'll be using my highlighter to round over any corners. On this top view, there's a couple of really important things that I need to keep in mind when I am planning out my car. First thing, if I plan out a car and I draw a line all the way to this point from here to there, and then from here to there, I'm gonna end up with a little tippy-tappy point, and that's gonna be a major problem when I go to drill the hole for my axle because the drill bit has a little bit of width to it. So what we first wanna do is actually take our ruler, I'm gonna set my scissors off to the side. We're gonna take our ruler and we wanna plan a spot by each of our 4 places where our axle is gonna be coming out. We wanna plan out a space of 10 millimeters total where we are not going to be cutting into that axle. So I did 5 on each side of that axle. I'm gonna do 5 millimeters on this side of this axle. I'm gonna go over here to this section and I'm gonna plan out 5 here. And notice I'm not making big giant tick marks on my paper really dark. I'm just doing really nice little lines as an indication for where I need to plan out a nice spot that is flat for my axle holes. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4 flat spots. Now I'm gonna plan out the front. I have a couple choices with my front. I can leave it big and boxy, which might be kind of a good idea because this comes down to a big tip. Or I could make it a big, nice curve using my scissor handle, or I could even go and curve it like this. Then I'm gonna end up with a really fine point. That could be really neat. So I'm gonna show you on each side 2 different views. Now obviously you have to pick one because this line that we see going all the way down the middle of our CO2 car is our line of symmetry. But I want to show you 2 options. So our first option is to take our scissor handle. I'm going to try to find the right curve of what I would have in mind, and I am going to put the tip of my pencil at the middle line of symmetry, and then I'm gonna curve it so it goes up to that 10 millimeter measurement, and I could have a curve like this. And then I could flip my ruler over and I could have it curve that way. So this is one option. So it curves in, and then I'm missing a little bit here, so I'm gonna use my highlighter to get that all the way to the middle. This is a choice, but another choice is I could have it swing in. So again, I'm lining up here in the middle to this 10 millimeter flat spot, and I could have it go like this. Obviously, you don't want to have it out on one side and in on the other side. So please make sure for your practice assignment in our class, you're picking, does it curve in or does it curve? Please make sure that you plan accordingly. Does it go in on both sides or does it go out on both sides? If you're having a hard time picturing, make sure to ask your teacher. Now, same thing here. I could have it curve in or I could have it curve out. I as well am going to show you both. And in class, you need to pick an idea. And I'm gonna stick with this set of lines that are already on my car because I'm gonna go with a rail design. Rail design is the fastest design possible. So I am going to measure out here so they line up on the same spot. I'm gonna plan to go to, from the middle of my axle, 20 millimeters. So they line up the same on both sides. And this one is going to curve in. Okay, so that one was a curve in, and now this side, I have my little 10mm helper, or 20, I'm sorry, and I'm going to curve out. And I could choose whatever combination I'd like of those. I'm gonna round this corner a little bit smoother. There we go. Making sure that I'm rounding whenever possible, because that does help add strength to my car. So I could either, as a student, choose to go in and then out, or I could choose to go out and then in, or I could do both out or both in. You pick, just make sure that you're ending up with symmetry. Now for the next section, we're going to be drawing in around the back. Just like we did in the front, we needed to have that nice flat spot where our axle was going through. We need to plan accordingly here. In addition to leaving it wide where the axle is, it being the car, we also need to make sure that we're not cutting anywhere in to this dotted line space, because then it puts our power plant into a dangerous area. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some curves, because I'm again sticking with my rail design. So I'm gonna curve from here to there on each side, adding symmetry in the back so we can see what symmetry looks like. So let's get started. I'm really hoping that my highlighter will offer the right curve. And yeah, that's looking really nice. So I'm just gonna line up my highlighter for the right curve. And I'm gonna curve this way. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. And I'm just taking advantage of those dark lines that are already in my drawing. So I now have a curve on each side, not perfectly symmetrical, but really close. And now I'm also going to take advantage of this dotted line, because here I can touch this outer dotted line. I cannot touch the inner dotted line. And again, I'm going to curve, but it is hard to curve this way going out. So I am going to draw a diagonal, and I'm going to go diagonal here with a nice straight line. So I'm going to go to that tippy point, put my pencil there, diagonal out, and then I'm going to do a diagonal in, because that's nice and easy to cut, and it's also pretty easy to draw. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Diagonal. And from here, diagonal. And now I have my plan for my car. And just like we did on our side view, I'm going to shade in where I will be cutting on my top view. So this will be cut off. Front here of your car, you need to pick. There's a few different options of what the front of your car is going to look like. Just make sure that it is symmetrical, like the wings of a butterfly, nice and symmetrical. So on this first practice drawing, we just want to get our drawing as close as possible to the example. And we're practicing our drawing techniques here. except for in the front. You should not have the front match my example exactly because you were needing to pick. Okay, this should be my final drawing. I have my side with my axle holes marked out, and my axle holes go all the way through. I have my top all picked out. The back of your top should look almost exactly like this, and then the front should be your combination of what you picked for outer curves or inner curves. You got to decide. Just like our previous assignments, you're going to be uploading the picture that you took of your work to the assignment in Schoology.